You're listening to Left at the Valley 2.0.
Try again.
All right, our next guest is Nathan Brown, all the way from Grand Forks. He's a snappy dresser and a snazzy dancer. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
No problem. Nice to be here.
Let's give him the large applause.
That's
we go.
better.
That's better.
Sheesh, you gotta have that queued up better. We're gonna work
Do
on
you
that.
say he's from Grand Forks? I just wonder if there's a Grand Spoons.
Right next door to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Louis District.
They're less grand, but
This is our second guest from Grand Forks.
It would be, yeah.
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 Like that's half the town. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much done now.
There's a population of 4 in the town.
Yep.
we've interviewed all 4.
Yeah.
Nathan, thank you so much for being on the show. Maybe you'd be so kind to give us a quick introduction as to who you are, a quick bio as to who Nathan Brown is.
I basically just love science. I drive a garbage truck for a living. My town's pretty small, so I like to go out in the bush. I do hunting, fishing, shooting, archery, all those fun things.
Fun stuff. Okay, we're going to quickly pause here. I forgot to tell you. Look with your eyes, but keep your mouth there.
Oh, okay.
Because as soon as you move out, I lose you.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't know. I understand that when we talk to people, you look at them.
Yeah.
You have to just look with your eyes. And keep
Yeah.
your
If you can, sometimes I try and focus on the screen. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
look at me, Nathan. Look at
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Look at Benjamin's teeth.
It's
blue
hard
eyes.
to like get used to this part of like talking to Kevin and looking at a little square here
No,
instead of
it's very normal, right? Because people say, you
Yeah.
talk to people, oh, yeah.
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 It's very normal. Yeah. But yes,
anyway.
it takes I should have warned you. My bad.
Yeah, we're getting used to it.
My bad.
Yeah.
All right, Nathan, you have a very interesting
Oh God.
story when it comes to deconversion
Well,
and life in general.
Not deconversion so much as just being forced to live the life.
So
Yeah.
maybe let's go back a long time ago when
Uh.
dinosaurs ruled the earth and little kitty Nathan was around. So tell me about your story, your family, where they come out of.
So I was really heavily indoctrinated from a young age. My parents are extremely religious, just in mainstream Christianity, but my dad is a religious scholar, and he likes to go to all different churches and all different religions, and he's
Countries, yeah.
he was raised Muslim,
Oh,
and then he converted to Christian. He's 100% Turkish.
really?
Yeah. So his
Wow.
dad was a devout Muslim. So he was raised Muslim, and then he converted to Christianity. And then through that, he started getting interested in other religions. So we've been to Mormon churches. We've been to evangelical, like televised churches. We've been to lots of Judaism ceremonies, holidays, stuff like that. They joined a cult for 2 years. That one,
I'll be fun.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
talk
get to
about
that.
that one was interesting. Yeah.
I just want to interject here because this is someone I know really well. And I also know his parents very well. And I truly believe that his father isn't religious in any way, shape, or form. And he knows that he can use religion for control. And so he
That's par for the
actually
course.
Yeah.
he uses it to truly control the people that are around him. And he abuses it in that way. So it's very different. And it was used as a form of control in the household.
Hold on a second. Are you telling me that people are using religion to control other people?
I know.
That is crazy. That's crazy talk.
Especially white men.
Yeah, it's very, very. No, he's technically not white, but
Well, you know.
when you look at like Brent's family, where it's ultra religious, or Benjamin's family is ultra religious, but they are the followers. Whereas in Nathan's family, his dad was one of the manipulators. It's very different.
Yeah,
My
we
parents have
stuck
become
with the
less
one
religious over time, actually. Like, they're a lot more chill about things now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think mine are too, but my dad's still really into the reading different religious texts and studying them and discussing them. And
Taking off to Israel for a couple of years at a time.
yeah, he'll go to Israel quite frequently, and he talks to the Palestinians and the Israelis there. And I don't know. I half thought he was going to go on a jihad when I was a kid. 'Cause,
Oh, shit.
You just don't know.
yeah, I wondered sometimes.
It's interesting that you say that because
Mhm.
somebody who's been raised in Islam, for him to go
Yeah.
to Israel
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
it's not what you would expect. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, with the people that he deals with on that level, he's completely different than how he deals with the people in his life. Like, people from outside of our family see him as this brilliant guy
Yeah.
that knows so much about everything, and like he's sought after for talking. He wrote an article about the cult we joined and got it published in Time magazine.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's a real smart guy, but he's using his intelligence for the wrong things.
Yeah.
So
Think-
power
think
for
it's-
evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
think smart Donald Trump.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's essentially like common abuser storyline is
Oh,
everyone
absolutely.
else says how great they are, whereas the people that are a part of it
Yeah.
are like, oh no.
Yeah, he went full like trademark control. You could read it in a textbook. He moved us away from my mom's family because they were trying to protect us, and he didn't want that trouble. So we moved to BC from Ontario and got away from the family, and then he got what he wanted, isolated us, everything.
Wow.
When I was
But
growing,
is moving from Ontario to BC really that terrible? Like,
no,
superior.
I'm really glad I'm here now, but at the time I wasn't.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
that's-
BC is much more beautiful than Ontario could
Yeah,
ever be.
you can pay me to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a major method, though. Is like controlling
It
your
is, yeah.
environment, and
Yeah, and
making sure you don't talk to people because that's important, to them, keeping you in that bubble.
First time when I was 6, and then we moved back to Ontario for like a year, and then we came back in 1986 when I was 8, I think.
Wow.
So it's almost like Ontario rejected you guys.
Yeah.
Or him.
Yeah.
Let's go
Shit
back to the
back out.
cult because that's the one that's most fascinating.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Oh, you dropped out of the stream.
Oh, well, he's still with us.
Still here.
Yeah.
He still got his audio, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so there we go.
Oh,
Here.
he's back.
Yeah,
There
he's
we
back.
Yeah, this tablet's not
So-
super
Well,
good.
yeah. Did you connect to the Wi-Fi?
So I'm still shocked that your father would use religion to manipulate people.
You're still speechless about this, are you?
From growing up, I talk about this all the time online to people about how religion is so rooted in control, and you can go from the highest level Catholics to the lowest level witch doctor or shaman, and the end result is the same. They want control over the people, and they want them to police themselves. They don't want to have a big army or anything to stay on top of people. They want to have people go, oh, well, if I do this thing wrong, I'm going to burn in hell for eternity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so you essentially were born, I guess, in the Christian faith,
Yeah.
right? It's not like you converted to another faith at some point.
No, we didn't convert, but when we joined the cult, it was a lot different than the mainstream Christianity churches that we had been going to. So that was a bit of a culture shock.
So when you were, was there a specific denomination your father took you guys into Christianity? Was it you weren't Catholics?
No, they just called it mainstream Church of Christ. So it wasn't Catholic, it wasn't Baptist, it wasn't
It's probably
Protestant,
on
right?
the United
Like a
Church, not non-denominational. Close. It's a Church of Christ.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and-
you call it mainstream?
Yeah.
Mainstream Church of Christ.
Yeah, it's basically just a group of people that are reading the Bible. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of closer. If I believed in religion, it's a little bit closer to what I would think.
just Church of Christ.
Yeah. But
Is that the one where they believe a lot of the Old Testament too, where they're like, you can't, it's like the Sabbath is holy and shit like that?
not so much.
No.
But
No,
the
okay. My
cult
bad.
that we joined really did. They were, yeah. we
Yeah.
had to attend church like 4 times a week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
And if you didn't show up to one meeting, you'd have 20 people calling you the
Yeah.
next day.
It sounds like Mormon
Yeah.
church.
I was gonna say, that
Because
sounds
when
like
we were in
mine,
high
yeah.
school, we would go in every day before high school to learn about our scriptures.
Yeah.
And then we would go Wednesdays and we'd go Sundays. So, yeah.
Well, and then on top of that, like if they didn't submit financials to prove they were tithing the right amount, there was huge penalties there too. Like,
Yeah,
Same
we
thing with Mormonism. They
Yeah,
will come
yeah,
after you.
yeah. That's very cool.
T4s and
Wow.
tax returns.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by the whole tithing thing. Because even though I was raised Christian, Roman Catholic, I never ever, I would put a 20-cent bacon shake and bake coupon in the collection plate. That's what I would do.
So
You know?
with the cult, did it
Same
have a
thing.
name?
They called it the Church of Christ.
Oh, okay.
But they believed that their sect of the Church of Christ, which they identified as very different from the mainstream, their Church of Christ was the only one that was going to go into heaven, just
Yeah,
like
of
every,
course.
every
Of course,
religion
yeah,
Every church is
says.
that
Yeah,
way.
everybody else is wrong, but they were just really everything had to be by the scripture. And,
So how old were you at that point?
at that point, I think I was 12 or 13.
Okay.
And then
pretty
he
young
got kicked
still.
out of the cult.
Yeah, because as I said, my
12, 13, you're starting to get rebellious, right?
No, he didn't get. His dad got kicked out.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my dad, like I said, he's a religious scholar, so he started to ask questions.
Oh.
His IQ is damn near 200. Like he's super, super smart. But
Yeah, it's too bad he used it for bad.
yes,
but anyway.
he's sociopathic basically. So yeah, he would go to all these different churches and just try to insert himself like he was a believer, and then he would
Try to take over.
try to expose them. Basically, when we went to the televangelist, he went up on stage to get healed with the forehead hit, and the preacher walked up to him, and he hit the preacher instead and knocked him over. We got banned for life.
You know what? I'm still
Is there video?
I would have done.
I mean,
Well, some things are not so bad. I mean,
Yeah.
but the bad far outweighs the good.
Yeah.
This is just perfect for a Hollywood movie. As the preacher approaches his hand, just block.
Oh yeah, and,
Yeah.
Hit him right back.
and I don't have a lot of memories from my childhood, but I remember that.
I bet.
That's gold.
That
Solid
was-
gold.
States, right?
No, it was in Toronto,
Oh, okay.
like right downtown Toronto.
Okay.
Biggest
We-
evangelical church there.
We need that video.
Awesome.
But we're gonna need that.
Yeah,
We're
God, I
gonna
wish
need
we
that
had video footage of that.
yeah,
That is brilliant. I love
yeah.
that. So you're 12 years old, and you yourself at that point, do you recall how you felt about it? Did you ever
I was-
believe in the faith?
I was long past seeing through the bullshit by that point, and I was just getting dragged along. Basically, I paid lip service because if I didn't, I would have gotten crap at home. So
Do you recall at which moment in your youth, at some point, you said, nah.
yeah, when I was 8 years old, I asked my mom and the preacher from our church. I said, "So you have to accept God into your heart and be baptized to be saved, yes?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "So what about the indigenous people in Australia and Africa
Valid
and
question.
South America? They've never even heard of God, so they go right to hell, right?" And they're like, "Oh, maybe it's a tough one,"
yeah.
like humming and hawing back and forth. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit."
They didn't give you the why don't you
Hard.
pray about
Close
it? God
your
will
heart.
let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so from the time I was 8 years old until I was forced to go to church, I was 16. So I had 8 years where I was basically observing the church, knowing that it was crap, and trying to see like what the end goal was. And it always came back to the same things: money, control, power.
Yep.
Yeah,
know,
religion is social control.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's kind of
really
funny because I had a similar experience myself, because I one of the most I recall is being in church, and not liking it, obviously, and then I'm looking at people and I'm observing people around me, and they look so much like automatons. They were like robots.
yeah, for sure.
There was no passion. There was no belief in what, you can tell when a person actually believes what they're saying. But these people was just like,
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
a lot of
you realize-
fake smiles and glossy eyes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I have my brain always follows logical progression to get places, and you can't do that with religion, so it just didn't make sense to me in my head. And I would look around, and even the good people in the church that I liked, I'm like, they're not living how the Bible says. Like, they're just paying lip service. And my sister was talking to me about it last week, like asking me why I wouldn't just believe in God, because then at least I would
She's
go
so
to
believer.
heaven. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I go to church and say that I believe in God, I really don't believe in God. So I'm lying right to God's face. He's going to send me to hell anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just love it how
But
they
her-
feel somehow bamboozled
Yeah.
the almighty creator of the universe.
Yeah, and I told her, if you need this huge reward as a reason to be a good person, or you need the threat of endless agony to be a good person, then you're not a good person.
No,
You're
exactly.
just doing it because you're afraid of the consequences,
Yeah.
or because you're greedy.
But the wording of her question makes it sound like her belief in God is like a backup plan. Like, just in case he's real, then I want
Yeah,
to be cool.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and I
Moscow's wager.
told her, like, if you're, that means that you don't really 100% believe. Like, if your heart was 100% with God, then you wouldn't even question it.
Right.
Well, she can't move mountains. That's just what that means.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no faith of a mustard seed there. Like, but that's the thing. Like, you're both your mom, your dad, and your sister have stayed very, very religious, and it's like almost impossible to visit without having them try to like pull you back to the church.
Yeah, my mom tries to preach to me all the time, and I used to tell her that I prayed to George Carlin. I'm like, I do pray. I pray to George Carlin. George Carlin prays to Joe Pesci, right? So,
On all bases.
yeah, that would usually stop her, but the last time she really got into it. So I went right into my theories about why religion is completely wrong and misguided, and it can't be right logically, and it can't be right in the world of physics, and it can't be right. Like, there's just...
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I
It
see
just
so
sounds made
clearly.
up.
Yeah, I see it
When
so
you-
clearly in my head that I don't understand why other people don't see it too.
It's,
I-
you know,
I-
like it's like be good, kids, because if you're good, you're gonna go to an amusement park when you die.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
already, I'm like, hold on, like what?
And then there's the whole thing too, where if you take the whole Christian story and you remove the fact that you grew up with it and just look at it outside of that perspective, that story is insane.
It is.
I like to use the reduce you ad absurdum method, saying basically, so God impregnated a woman with himself so he could sacrifice himself to himself so he can forgive us for sin of taking dietary advice from a talking snake in a magical garden.
That he put there.
That he put there. And it sounds ridiculous in whichever way you look at it. It's
Yeah.
just absolutely
And this is the
bonkers.
all-knowing, all-seeing God, so he knows whether or not you fucking believe in him.
Yeah.
Like,
right, and
hello?
keep in mind, like God didn't create hell for us. He created it for that thing he accidentally put in the garden. Apparently, I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends on your version of hell. Are you looking at biblical hell, or are you looking at fanfic hell? Because there's two different
Yeah.
things. The Bible tells a very different story of hell than the hell that's preached.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
true. That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
The hell that we have, the classic hell that people think of, the lake of fire and all that, it's basically Dante's Inferno.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, is
It's-
that Dante?
Yeah, it's a fictional account.
Yeah, it's hell. It's hell fanfics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hell,
People writing-
but
Yeah, we knew that. So okay, so we're
I'm
at
starting to come around to Jesus being fictional.
I
I'd never really heard the
Kevin's getting to
mysticism
you.
before, but yeah, a little bit. I mean, I can buy that maybe there was a bunch of Jesuses and they've kind of amalgamated into one Jesus, but there's far too many arguments for why he doesn't exist.
Anyway,
That's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm trying to take a left at the valley.
Sorry.
So at the age of 12, so at this point you realize it's all bullshit, and then at some point your dad takes you guys into some kind of cult.
yeah, he was having some issues with his faith at the time, so he was looking for something that was a little more ground level and involved to pull him back in, I guess. And he found this group of people because he was always talking to different religious people and finding out what they believe and stuff. And he seemed to like this one, so we joined up, and there was, I think they had churches all over Canada and the States. They were based in California. The leader of the church was living the high life.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
and he was believed to be some kind of prophet, I guess.
Of course.
And all the edicts came down from him, and it was just a really weird environment. It was almost like a commune, like where all the women were taking care of each other's babies, and like we didn't have a church building. We went to community centers and hotels and stuff like that.
So did you guys actually had to move onto a compound?
No, we didn't move on to a compound, but when the group was together, almost felt like a polygamous family to me, but everybody was just kind of one being.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird, and like they were everything you had to hold to account. They took my mom into a secret meeting with the women, and they basically broke her down completely. Told her that because she had kids out of wedlock, her baptism is null and void, and it won't get her into heaven. She has to be rebaptized into this church. So they broke her down. They made her tell everything about her life, things she would never tell anybody, and now she's telling it to this group. And then they baptized her in the basement of one of the higher up in the church's house.
That's a huge cult like red flag right there.
Yeah,
Like, if they start like digging into like, and it's like they're getting information on you that they can use against you. Yeah, that is a huge cult red flag.
They want to know every single sin you've ever committed. Like, she was in there for hours. I was upstairs and I could hear crying, I could hear yelling, I could hear, like, it was horrible.
Wow. I'd just be like, I don't fucking know. Like, you know, like I don't know all the sins.
The memory for this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not keeping notes here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, my question though, like, why didn't your dad just start his own damn cult?
You should have.
That was
I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't.
Yeah,
to be totally
he's,
honest with you.
does he have the gift of gab?
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. Yeah.
So I'm surprised if he's that smart and he has the gift to talk. I'm surprised he hasn't.
Yeah, me too. And that's why I said, like, when he would disappear to Israel, sometimes I'd wonder if he was out there on a jihad. He could have been, like, riling people up. Like, he's a speaker. He's a writer. He's, like, sought after as a speaker.
And he's not hard to look at.
Yeah.
So he's also got the face of.
I think Sabrina just said your dad's hot.
No.
That's
Trust
very
me, I
clearly
hate this man.
exactly
Like,
what
and
she
I
said,
don't use that word lightly. This is not something that I
think the word you're looking for is charismatic.
Yeah.
Yes, especially with the big
Charisma.
bright white teeth. Like, really, to me, it turns me off, but it doesn't turn other people
Yeah,
off.
people listen to him. Like, when he talks, people listen.
You know how sometimes when you look
Sponsored by
at someone and you get no feeling, you just know that they're just not good people. That's the feeling I get when I look at this man.
Yeah, and I hear that from pretty much everyone that meets him that's part of my side of the family.
Anyone who's like actually healthy will realize very quickly what a horrible person this
Maybe
is.
that's the reason too why he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think that people can see straight through him if they're
and
smart.
Sabrina, I'm with you. Like, bad teeth is hot. I'm just saying.
No. The other way around.
No,
Especially with that British accent and black people.
Fake white, like they're fake white. It's bad.
It's politics.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, in his scholarly pursuits, he learned 6 languages so that he could read different holy books.
He can read Hebrew.
Isn't it amazing?
He's fluent in Hebrew. He'll like demand his wife do things in Hebrew so that we don't know that he's ordering her around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Forget Pig Latin. Do it in Hebrew.
Yeah, or German, or Japanese, or like he speaks a lot of languages.
Jesus,
it's amazing to see people.
Like the Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see that people are being sought off as speakers for subjects of nothing.
Yeah,
really.
and that's how I feel about it. And I'm like, you're so intelligent. Like he has the brain to really make a contribution
And
to
make a difference.
humanity, and he's just decided that he's going to waste it on religion, and that's sad because he's really smart.
It is sad.
Like smart enough to be in politics and make a difference.
Yeah.
For the good, if he would use it for the good.
But maybe, with his mindset, maybe it's a good thing he doesn't go into politics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, seriously, don't give him that. I don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
So how long were you guys in that cult?
2 years before
2
we got
years.
kicked out. Yeah.
And you got kicked out on difference of opinion that you had with
Yeah,
cult members,
my dad was asking manipulative, prying questions, trying to get information under the radar, and they got wise to him and said, this guy's asking too many questions, and they basically completely shunned us. We never talked to any of them again. Our friends in the church wouldn't talk to us.
That's very Mormonism.
Yeah.
Like,
That's very
That was
cultish.
Like-
exactly like
Mormony. Yeah.
Or Jehovah's Witness.
where is that the
More
same?
Jehovah's
Yeah.
Witness. Mormons don't
Jehovah's
push
Witness.
that as much. They're like, no, keep talking to them. Get them to come back. Get them to come back.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. I'm mixing the two up.
That's
So the
true.
Jehovah's Witness,
Well,
if you fall out of faith, they just like will ignore
shun
you
you.
as
They
if you
shun you.
never existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get the
Crazy.
impression that maybe your father's trying to do is just trying to take over something that's already established?
I think he wants to end up in a hierarchy in a church, so he wants to be an elder, and I think he has trouble getting in there because he's so involved in so many different religions, and the higher ups know that he's really smart and also really manipulative, so
And
they
he
don't
never
want to
really
let him
sticks
in.
around because, like, he always goes back to one church, but he'll be like, "I'm just going to go to this church for a little while," or "I'm going to go to this church for a little while," and then he goes back to the other one. But if you're not sticking around, how are you going to move up?
Yeah, I probably went to 30 different churches, and like
My
from the time I was 2 until 16, so 14 years, I probably went to 30 churches.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my fill of 2.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And how do you not become an atheist from that? And how do you not realize that you're going to make your family become an atheist through all that?
Yeah.
I feel like once you've seen a bunch of disagreeing denominations, it kind of proves the whole thing to be
Well, as soon as I had the ability to see religion objectively instead of subjectively, I saw through it right away. And then after that, like, I was just watching these other people being indoctrinated and being like, why? How do they not see through it?
Yeah, man.
Well,
Yeah,
cognitive
exactly.
dissonance is a powerful thing.
Very
And
much
I
so.
will say, without knowing your father, if he does not have very powerful cognitive dissonance, he is an atheist, and he knows.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
playing
that's
this as
the thing. Like,
I mean, I lived with him for quite a while, but I was never really able to figure out whether or not he actually believed what he was in, or if he was just trying to use it to gain himself some position, or
and that's why I think he doesn't believe, to be totally honest with you. 'Cause you
frankly,
just
I
can't tell.
think that's the same also for the vast majority of all church leaders
Yeah.
all over the world.
I have to
They
agree.
none of them live according to their own doctrine.
nope.
Oh.
Absolutely. I mean, the only one that live according to the doctrine are like monks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so
And those are Buddhists,
you don't
right?
see. Well, no, not necessarily.
Not always.
But you
I
don't
know.
see anybody in the Vatican giving out all their stuff and following
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, none of them do.
No, the Catholic Church is richer than most countries.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
what-
they know full well this is a crock, and they know how to
Mhm.
play it.
Yeah, for sure. And they would have to be manipulative to be a leader in the church,
Yeah.
because they know that what they're saying isn't true. Like,
Yeah, it only goes so far, right?
Yeah.
You can play. I mean, we could all pretend right now to be, Christians and holy men and all that stuff, and holy women, whatever. But we deep down inside, we don't believe it either, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well,
we're just
I can
telling
go
the
over
truth.
the script with y'all. Like, I can show you what to say. It's cool. I got it all down.
I mean, okay, so what are the tenets of our cult we're building now?
I thought we were following the Satanist tenets.
No, we're going to make our own cult now. It's fine.
No,
Okay.
we're trying to trick people. They're being way too honest.
Because that was pretty cool.
The Pastafarian was pretty cool.
I really like
Taking it
his
from the
prayer.
Satanist.
yeah, how they're
then-
letting people take their license photos with a colander on their head now.
Yeah.
BC, yeah, go BC.
Awesome.
Well, we are like the most liberal province.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. Who's more liberal than us?
Quebec.
Alberta.
Okay,
Yeah.
fuck that. I will give you that Quebec is pretty liberal. They're
Or
actually
progressive anyway.
definitely progressive as well.
Anyway,
Yes. Anyway,
that's,
right.
That's another
there's
subject for another
another
show. So we're back at Nathan being 12 to 16. You went through that cult. At some point, you basically got old enough to basically say, "Fuck that shit."
Yeah.
Yeah, you moved out.
And
I moved out at 15, yeah.
okay,
There you go.
Whoa.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
and that was your deconversion at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you, when I lost the faith, for lack of a better term, because I don't think you lose faith, I think you gain reason.
Yeah.
There was a while there where I was going into the world of woo. I was, there's a nebulous force out there or
Yeah.
something. Was that your case as well, or were you like staunchly atheist from the get-go?
My whole belief system is basically the universe is here, can't create or destroy matter or energy, you can just change states. So when I die, my energy goes back to the universe and it comes out somewhere else as something else. It's not me, but it's the energy that sustained me, and the matter that sustained me has been around for billions of years, and it'll be around for billions more. So I just see everything as this big tapestry of nature working together.
Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Although I have a feeling that when I die, they're probably going to dust me up in the dustpan, put me in the garbage can or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thankfully, your energy would be going back to the universe.
I really liked it. What was it, Futurama, where they got the time machine that could only go forward through time, but the
Yeah.
Big Bang started again, so they just got to back to the same point.
Yeah. Turn around and circle. They're like, okay, we're here. Let's stop.
I believe there is a hypothesis.
It's a big
of
loop.
that, actually.
That
Yeah.
time circular, I could kind of buy that.
It's loopy. It's loopy.
Do
You never know.
do you know? I mean, do you keep in touch with your father? Do you know where he is today?
Yeah, I still
Saw him
talk to him.
yesterday.
I've made some efforts to kind of have some kind of relationship with him.
It's not worth it.
I've had therapists tell me that I shouldn't forgive him, but I did. So
I think personally, wait.
You had a therapist tell you you should not forgive him?
yes,
Okay.
because he was very abusive.
I think
Damn.
that you should forgive yourself for what happened then.
Yeah,
Maybe not necessarily forgive and forget, but maybe forgive him for yourself. Like, you don't have to tell him you forgive him because he doesn't deserve that
hold on
anyway.
there.
yeah, that's
But forgiving
I
for
actually
yourself.
agree, yeah.
We're missing a whole bunch of context here, and I don't know if we want to get into that, but that's really up
Are
to
you willing to delve? Because it's bad, guys.
yeah. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. So it's because you
'Cause
forgetting your father. I mean, I don't know your father. I don't know much about your past.
It
Yeah.
isn't. It did tie into the religion side of it too, because he used it to control the children.
Yeah, our life was very religious centric.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was also alcoholism and abuse.
Yeah,
And
he was the biggest hypocrite I knew, basically. So
Yeah. Behind closed doors, he was a monster.
yeah.
Oh wow. It's-
That's the best way to describe it.
I will say, just from a personal experience, and I know everybody isn't like me, but I do recommend forgiving people for yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's
You
what
know,
I
the
did
thing-
because it
yeah.
takes way more energy to hate somebody
Yeah.
than it does to
It
just be
does.
indifferent or
Exactly.
And it's one of the things that
That
people
is-
don't realize when you angry at people, when you hate people, they stay in your life.
yeah.
You're
You're giving them power.
Yeah, and you're
You give them,
yeah, and you're not hurting them, you're just hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
exactly
was why I decided to let it go. And
But
I
I
talked to
am
him.
fully on
That's
board
it.
with your therapist that you should cut him out of your life 100%, and you should never speak to him again. And I believe that other family members of yours have kind of done that, and they're starting to heal. So
Yeah, he didn't show up for the barbecue yesterday.
yeah, so I fully think that this is not someone who deserves your time of day.
And I don't either. And he's really like beyond just being civil. He hasn't done anything to try and spark a relationship with me, and I'm fine
You know,
with that.
to
but-
give some examples without giving out too much, this is someone who told his mother that he never liked Nathan.
like 5 years ago.
Was it just
Wow.
again?
Told me, yeah.
That's rough.
Well, this also happened when you were like 18.
Yeah.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, I was
He's an ass.
well aware that he didn't like me. The
He
whole
never
time I
liked
was
me either
growing up.
because I was a powerful woman. He hated me.
Samesies.
Yeah,
I always got the pointed questions.
Yeah.
So it was always, oh, what are you doing now? Or just the tone of voice he would use with me was like, I know that you're intelligent, so I'm going to try and make you feel this big.
Yeah.
That was my question. I mean, you're obviously a very smart guy.
Yeah.
right? And I have a lot of respect for your intellect. Do you feel that your father views you as a threat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you let him answer?
Sabrina's like, I got this. I got this.
I got
Yes,
No,
we
I
know
wanna do
he
your interview.
sees you as a threat, Sabrina.
I'm a little triggered.
Yeah, he's
I was around this man for far too many years. So.
yeah, he never encouraged my intelligence. Like, we were stifled really badly in the house. We weren't allowed to have feelings. We weren't allowed to have abstract thoughts that didn't align with his belief system. And yeah, I got beat lots of times. And when we moved here from Ontario, it was because he beat the crap out of me and my brother when we were really little, and my grandpa said he would kill him if he did it again. So he moved us here so he could keep abusing us.
Wow.
We're talking about a lot of physical violence.
Yeah,
Mhm.
physical
Yeah,
violence.
to abuse.
When he wasn't allowed to beat us anymore and we were still in Ontario, he would take a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, sit me on the counter, put it on my tongue and tell me I wasn't allowed to spit it out or swallow it until he
Cayenne pepper.
Yeah, and
I thought it was hot sauce.
no cayenne pepper. I had a tablespoon of cayenne pepper on my tongue for like 5 minutes before he would let me spit it out.
That can like damage your taste. Like that can damage.
Yeah.
It was torture. Yeah.
Totally is.
There was hidden cameras when they were teenagers, so there was a hidden camera, and it would be there to catch them doing something wrong.
Yeah.
AKA being a teenager. And he would watch the video and then interrogate them to catch them in lies.
Yeah, I used to get interrogated all the time, and now I get really triggered if someone comes at me with any kind of anger or accusation. Like, I just go off now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
bet. That's some PTSD right there, man.
It was always in the context of the faith at the same time.
It was, because he would be like, "Oh, well, the Bible says,
spare the rod, spoil the child."
Yeah, exactly. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
And the Bible says if you don't follow everything I say implicitly, then you should go to hell. He told us before that
already in hell.
He told me multiple times that if it was still Bible times, he would be allowed to kill me.
Wow.
So, in a way, he's not wrong, but it's a horrible thing to say.
Yeah.
What's the point of that statement other than to fucking terrorize?
All control. Like, all of my friends when I was a teenager, they'd be out till 9 o'clock. We hung out at the park right outside our front window, and he would make me come in at 6, and then I never got to do what I wanted to do in the house, so I basically just.
It's hard to be the cool kid too when you have to go inside at 6.
Yeah, my social life suffered big time because of him, but
again, because of control.
Yeah, and I had enough of it when I was 15. I moved out. I couldn't handle being around him anymore. My mom left him, and I moved back in with her for 3 months. And then he got back together with her, moved into the house, and he said, "The rent's paid till the 15th. Get out." And they moved.
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you feel like after coming out of things like that, do you feel like those situations that you were in for so long and stuff, has that affected your ability to socialize and things like that?
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the autism spectrum, so I have social issues anyway, and the issues that were coming out from that were one of the things that I used to get punished for the most, because he saw it as not correct behavior.
Yeah. There was little things that a normal parent would go, that's okay. You can make that choice. Whereas it was, no, you're not listening to me. And it was over something trivial like buttons.
Yeah.
Buttons.
Yeah. I don't want to wear a shirt with buttons. I don't fucking care. You're wearing that damn shirt with buttons.
Yeah, I've got sensory issues, so I don't like wearing clothes with buttons, and I actually have a full-blown phobia of plastic buttons. I can't, if I pick one up off the floor, I'll use a paper towel to pick it up. And
I understand that. Mine's with paper and paper tearing, so I have the same kind of reaction, but mine's paper.
Yeah, and I was so stifled in that household because the Bible says kids are to be seen and not heard. If I made anything over a speaking voice noise, he would lash right out at me. So now, even if I need help for something, if I've been pinned a couple of times at work, I won't yell out for help because I just can't. There's a block there.
Wow.
That must be so
That's
hard,
awful, man. I'm sorry.
Interaction with your peers and
I was working on a construction crew, and they yell back and forth across the building all the time that we're working in. Anytime someone called me, I had to walk all the way across the job site.
You jog over.
You can shape.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, just yell back." I'm like, "Sorry, I can't."
I don't yell. That's not.
You should have got a Nathan walkie-talkie for mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Those old mic phones from back in the day where it turned into a walkie-talkie.
I look like one of those cool FBI agents, and you can touch your ear.
What's
that?
Yeah.
But I really hated religion as soon as I realized it was crap, because it was responsible for so many horrible things in my life. I even got bullied at church, and that's somewhere.
Of all the places to
Right?
church.
And it was by the pastor's son, and nobody cared. Lots of people saw it. Nobody gave a crap.
Wow, damn, you're getting it from all over.
So every church I went to, it was just horrible. I didn't want to do it ever, and
Yeah.
I had to go every week, or else I was in shit. So yeah, everything that religion brought to my life was negative.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, and I get that, like being a Mormon church where you have to fit this very particular mold to fit in socially,
Yeah,
which
and
I did
actually
not fit in.
I got along really good with. There were a couple of Mormon kids in my school when I was growing up, and I got along really well with them because they kind of understood. Like we didn't have a religion that banned any holidays, but when my dad married my mom, she said 6 months after they got married, he approached her and he said, "We're not celebrating birthdays, holidays, anything." So we never had birthday parties, we never had Christmas, we never had
It's
Easter.
like the
we
Jehovah's
never had-
Witnesses.
yeah.
It is like
Halloween.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
This
no
man did
Halloween.
not carve a pumpkin until he was 24 years old.
Yeah.
Had never carved a pumpkin.
Wait, you carve pumpkins?
Oh, come on.
I'm just kidding.
Brent, if you're that sheltered,
What?
you've got problems, dude.
They don't have pumpkins in Florida.
Well, they can import them from these.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, he carves a pumpkin every day just to catch up.
Oh, are you referring to that demonic holiday that I know nothing about?
Exactly.
What?
Like, this
No.
guy's got artistic skill. You should see. I got pictures of some pretty awesome pumpkins. Let me
Yeah.
No
tell you.
shit. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. Take that,
Yeah.
that anger and put it into pumpkins.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being a kid and not being allowed to celebrate Christmas? And you have to like go to church and talk about Christmas, but you can't like actually
Yeah,
celebrate.
all the other kids at my church celebrated Christmas, so it was just me that didn't.
Oh fuck! So you even get that viewpoint of like,
Yeah.
because at least in cults they like are all doing the same thing.
Yeah, because you feel included in that group, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a group. We were like the outsiders of the church because everybody else celebrated all the holidays, but
Ah.
we didn't.
Jesus, you're like the conservative side of a fucking cult. That's crazy.
Yeah, and the first people
Wow.
when I tell people that, the first thing they always ask me is, "Were you a Mormon?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that'd be my first question.
We love Christmas.
Yeah,
Benjamin used to be Mormon.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
And I'm glad you can speak out about it today, because you know it's great to see that you can interact. I mean, I hope a lot of people don't get to follow in your footstep and live the kind of life you lived as a child.
Yeah.
But at least you can speak out against it today. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Well, and religious trauma is real. Like this is a true example of what religious trauma is. This is it's really fucking real.
You should come on the show more often. You got a great voice for radio.
Yeah.
Dude, man, it's solid.
He's got a sexy
Yeah.
voice, don't you think?
Sounds sexy.
Yeah, but the internet in Grand Forks sucks ball sack.
Yep.
Oh,
Pretty sexy voice.
Look,
I Benjamin nuts.
I'm supposed to be the sexy voice here.
That's
Oh,
right.
sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Step
You can only have one
aside,
sexy
Benjamin.
voice for
God damn it.
There's a new sheriff in town.
the- You guys are.
Should we have like a sexy voice off?
Sexy
Oh
voice.
my God.
We should have a competition. We'll get people to vote. It'll be great.
You're a
It'll be
cow.
so fucking sexy.
Nathan, you know, for people out there that are coming out in their apostasy, you know, hopefully they didn't have as bad as a journey as you have, but some of them do.
Yeah.
And, you know, often when you come out and you start doubting the faith, you feel even more isolated.
Mhm,
So,
for sure.
what would your advice be for the person that's maybe listening out there in the void right now?
Look for groups online that are supportive of getting away from the church.
Mhm.
I go to a lot of science groups on Facebook because it inevitably ends up degenerating into a religious conversation. There's a lot of religious trolls on those sites, but you get to see it from a different perspective, and it really shows you that you're not the only one who thinks that way, and there's a lot more out there than what you see at your current position, because yes, when you leave the church, all your friends are usually in the church, and you lose a lot by leaving, but you gain so much more.
Yes, I agree. Nathan, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
And, you're a fan of the show, and you're welcome back whenever you want.
Yep.
And of course, before I let you go, I'm gonna have you say, "Hi, this is Nathan Brown, and I took a left at the valley."
Hi, this is Nathan Brown, and I took a left at the valley.
Fantastic.
Yay!
That wasn't sexy enough, Nathan.
We need a sexy version.
Sexier. Do it sexier.
Sexier?
Ooh,
You do it
sexier?
sexier? Do it sexier.
This is Nathan Brown, and I took a left at the valley.
Ooh.
That was better. That was better.
Oh wait, no, that might just get me more patrons. So
I just came my pants.
I know what
That's
I'm
all
doing.
saying.
And we are paused. That was great. Fantastic.
okay, so I'll boot you from
Ooh,
I won't
What?
ban you, but I'll kick you.
I won't ban you.
Why?
Well, because I can sit with the headphones on, but we've got to close out the show.
Yes, that's right. So we'll mute his mic. Thanks, Nathan. That was great, man.
Yeah, it was
That
awesome.
was really great.
And then I'll put
Oh,
this
yeah.
back. No, not that way. Yeah, that way. Let's do this.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
We're not gonna call. I had to do that for a while.
Quit all those pots you're smoking. Gotta quit all those pots.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
You got a great voice, bud.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, perfect. Let's close this. Let's finish this.
Jax is like, oh, good, they're almost done. I know what they're doing.
Start
We're
to perk
early
up.
today, puppy.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. And that was Nathan Brown. Great guy.
Yeah,
Hell of a story. And
Yeah.
you just scratched the surface.
yeah, and I hope we see Nathan again in the show. He's a friend of the show now, so we'll actually hopefully have him on again, maybe as a guest co-host. Who knows? But it goes to show that there's a lot of bad stories out there, and I believe Christopher Hitchens is right. You know, religion poisons everything. It really does. When you have an imaginary being and just people following that imaginary being creates so much harm, whether physical, psychological, or any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible thing to experience, and it belongs in the infancy of our species. And
Yes,
it's
back in the dark ages where it came from.
like
Yeah,
I often say, you know, I don't blame religion for ever existing. It was our first attempt at explaining things,
Oh
but
yeah.
now we have better tools. We don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
I always say it's always, always, always a bad idea to think something is true when you don't have good reason to,
Or proof.
no matter
Exactly.
what. Like it's just always a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for being on the show, and thank you to my guest Nathan Brown for being on the show, and Danielle, of course.
Oh yeah.
And thank you to my co-hosts Benjamin, Sabrina, and Brent.
Ooh.
And thank you for listening. You can follow us at leftofthevalley.ca. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter at LATV Podcast. You can go to Patreon and help our efforts, patreon.com/LATV. And you can get an unedited version of the show.
At live as it happens.
Exactly.
We put up a link before we go live every week.
Give us a 5-star review. It helps us. It helps others find the show. And you can send us an email at leftatvalley@outlook.com. Okay. Brent, give us a quick plug for Unapologetics quick before I find my
Check
guest
it. Make sure to check out the Unapologetics panel stream. It's basically the another brilliant moment brought to you by religion, but in long form.
Yeah. Hour and a
check it
half.
out.
Crazy religious reaction videos. Perfect. It's great.
That's it.
Yep. It's great.
Coming up next week, we'll have Stephen Grumbine of Modern Monetary Theory.
Yay.
That'll be interesting. We'll also be talking to Dr. Todd Frank Miller, talk about critical thinking. We'll have Mary B. Lepage, we'll talk about religious trauma. And our good old friend David Fitzgerald will be coming back to talk about his series of book, Time Shards.
Finally.
In October,
Nice.
we'll also have Candace Owen, and we'll talk about death and disbelief. So,
We have
We
a
have
lot
Candace
of-
Owens.
yes.
We did.
No, it's Candace Gorman, sorry.
Oh, God.
Gorman.
Okay. Sorry. I was about to say, I'm on the
coming in
wrong
your pants
fucking
again.
show, y'all.
All right.
Holy shit.
Thank you so much, guys. Until next time.
Ooh.
Bask in my own ignorance, rather be alone than surrounded by damn idiots. As long as there's a breath in my body, you can bet your last dollar I'll be working hard fighting this problem. Religion is a disease, it comes from culture. Only true on a region.